This is a text transformation task. The user wants TTS-optimized plain text output, not a file. I'll produce the transformed content directly. There are 5 financial decisions that look completely responsible on the surface and quietly destroy retirement plans from the inside. Every single one of them happens in your 50s. And the worst part? The people making these decisions believe they are being careful. They are being disciplined. They are doing what they were told. They are wrong. I am not going to lecture you about starting earlier. That ship has sailed or it hasn't. And either way, it is irrelevant to what I am about to say. What I am going to show you is that the decade between 50 and 60 operates under a completely different set of financial physics than every decade before it. The rules change. The margins shrink. And the mistakes that were survivable at 35 become permanent at 55. Over the next 20 minutes, I am going to walk you through the 5 structural traps that catch intelligent, disciplined people in their 50s. And I'm going to show you the exact counter moves for each one, not opinions. Mechanisms. The kind of stuff buried in actuarial tables and Internal Revenue Service code that nobody reads, but everybody should. Let's start with the trap nobody sees coming. You have probably heard the term sandwich generation. You probably think it does not apply to you. Let me reframe it as a financial statement. According to the Pew Research Center, nearly half of adults in their 40s and 50s have a parent age 65 or older and are either raising a young child or financially supporting a grown child. Among adults in their 40s and 50s who have at least one child, age 18 or older, 73% have provided at least some financial help in the past year. That is not a family dynamic. That is a line item. An Athena study of the sandwich generation found that nearly 3/4, 73%, of respondents have adjusted their retirement goals to support their adult children or aging relatives. That includes 34% who are delaying retirement, 22% who are dipping into retirement assets, and 9% who are not planning to retire at all. I want you to sit with that last number. 9% of sandwiched adults have abandoned the idea of retirement entirely. Not postponed it, abandoned it. Here is what makes this trap so dangerous. It does not feel like a trap. It feels like love. It feels like responsibility. Your 27-year-old needs help with a deposit on an apartment. Your mother needs a procedure that insurance does not fully cover. Each individual decision is defensible. The cumulative effect is catastrophic. A woman I will call Patricia, a composite based on patterns I have studied, was 53 with $390,000 in her 401k, solide position. Then, over 4 years, she co-signed her son's car loan, covered her daughter's graduate school gap, and moved her mother into a care facility that cost $4,200 a month beyond what Medicare covered. None of these were extravagant. All of them were real. By 57, her 401k was $285,000, and her savings rate had dropped to 4%. Patricia did not make a single irresponsible decision. She made a series of generous decisions without a boundary structure. The difference between those two things is about $300,000 at retirement. The countermove is not cruelty. It is architecture. Before you say yes to any financial request from family in your 50s, you need to answer one question. Does this money come from my present or from my future? If you are pulling from retirement savings or reducing your contribution rate to fund someone else's present, you are donating your own future. And unlike your children, your future does not have decades to recover. Stay with me, because the next trap is the one that tricks the smartest people in the room. Your 50s are statistically your highest earning years. Peak income occurs between the ages of 45 and 55 for most college-educated workers. At the same time, major expenses often drop. The mortgage might be paid off. The kids might be out of the house. The student loans are long gone. This creates a dangerous surplus, not dangerous because you have money. Dangerous because of what most people do with it. Fidelity's Steve Feinschreiber noted that most people seek to maintain their standard of living in retirement, which generally peaks in your late 40s to mid-50s. Here is the problem with that. When your standard of living peaks at 54, and you try to maintain that standard for 30 years of retirement, you are locking in the most expensive version of yourself as the permanent baseline, the upgrade to business class, the second home, the kitchen renovation, the car that is just a little nicer. None of these are mistakes by themselves. They become mistakes when they reset the denominator of your retirement equation. Because retirement math is simple. How much do you need per year? Times how many years? Minus what you already have. When you inflate the first number in your 50s, you blow up the entire calculation. Let me introduce someone. His name is Ryan. He is 52, lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, earns $145,000 as a regional operations manager, and has $480,000 in retirement savings. Ryan just paid off his house. His youngest left for college last year. For the first time in 25 years, he has $3,000 of free cash flow per month. Ryan could funnel that $3,000 into his 401k catch-up contributions. At age 50 and older, the Internal Revenue Service allows $32,500 per year into a 401k in 2026. That is the standard $24,500 limit plus $8,000 in catch-up contributions. If he is 60 to 63, the super catch-up provision under Secure 2.0 allows an additional $11,250 instead of $8,000, pushing the total to $35,750. Instead, Ryan leased a BMW, joined a golf club, and started planning a home theater. His retirement contribution stayed exactly where it was. He told his friends he had earned it. Ryan is right. He did earn it. But what he spent was not his earnings, it was his compounding window. And that window does not reopen. We will come back to Ryan. This is the one nobody wants to talk about, the gray divorce rate. Divorce among adults over 50 roughly doubled from 5 per 1,000 married persons in 1990 to 10 per 1,000 by 2010. According to research by Brown and Lynn at Bowling Green State University, it has held steady since. For adults 65 and older, the rate has nearly tripled since 1990. Roughly 1 in 3 divorces now involves individuals over 50. The Allianz 2025 Annual Retirement Study found that 56% of married Americans say that a divorce would derail their financial retirement strategy, not set back, derail. Here is why the financial physics of divorce at 55 are fundamentally different from divorce at 35. At 35, you split assets that are relatively small, and you have 30 years of earning and compounding ahead. At 55, you split assets at or near their peak value, and neither party has enough runway to rebuild. Research using health and retirement study data found that women experienced a 45% decline in their standard of living after gray divorce, while men's dropped by 21%. These declines persisted over time. A retirement plan built for 2 people sharing one roof, one set of utilities, one insurance plan, and one Social Security optimization strategy gets cut in half, but the expenses for each person do not drop by half, they drop by maybe 25 to 30%. You are now funding 70% of a two-person lifestyle on 50% of the assets. I am not telling you to stay in an unhappy marriage for financial reasons. I am telling you that if you are in your 50s and you are not actively investing in your relationship, or if you are not having transparent financial conversations with your spouse, you are carrying a risk on your balance sheet that could be larger than any market crash. The countermove. Both spouses need to know every account, every balance, every beneficiary designation, every insurance policy. If only one person manages the money, you do not have a financial plan. You have a secret, and secrets in your 50s are expensive. Now, here is the trap that has nothing to do with your behavior and everything to do with the calendar. Two people, Sama H. Same starting balance of $1 million. Same average return of 7% over 30 years. Same annual withdrawal of $50,000. One ends with over $2 million. The other runs out of money in year 24. The only difference is the order in which the good years and the bad years arrived. This is called sequence of returns risk. And retirement researcher Wade Pfau has demonstrated that approximately 77% of a portfolio's final retirement outcome can be explained by the returns in just the first 10 years, not the average return over the full period. The sequence in the first decade, let that number breathe. 77%. Pfau and his colleagues call the 10-year window surrounding your retirement date 5 years before and 5 years after. The retirement risk zone. During this window, a severe market downturn does proportionally more damage than the same downturn at any other point in your financial life. Because once you start withdrawing from a declining portfolio, you are permanently removing shares that will never participate in the recovery. The math compounds against you instead of for you. This is the thing most people in their 50s do not understand. The risk is not that the market goes down. Markets go down all the time. The risk is that the market goes down while you are selling. A 30% decline at 35 and a 30% decline at 58 are not the same event. At 35, you buy more shares at lower prices. At 58, if you are 5 years from retirement with no cash buffer, you are watching your runway shorten in real time. The countermove is boring. And that is the point. Build a cash buffer of 18 to 24 months of living expenses before you retire. Keep it completely separate from your investment portfolio. This is your sequence shield. When the market drops in your first year of retirement, you draw from cash instead of selling equities at the bottom. Your portfolio gets time to recover without you punching holes in it. This single decision, keeping 2 years of expenses in cash, can be worth $150,000 to $300,000 in terminal portfolio value over a 25-year retirement, not from picking better stocks. From not being forced to sell at the wrong time. Remember Ryan? Ryan has no cash buffer. He also does not know what sequence of returns risk is. His financial advisor has never mentioned it. His advisor gets paid on assets under management and has no incentive to suggest Ryan hold cash outside the portfolio. Ryan is 5 years from retirement with a plan built on averages. Averages are fine for textbooks. They are lethal for individuals. Full retirement age is now 67 for anyone born in 1960 or later. Claiming at 62 instead of 67 reduces your benefit by 30% permanently. Delaying until 70 increases your monthly payment by 24% above the full retirement age amount through delayed retirement credits of roughly 8% per year. To make this concrete, If your full retirement age benefit is $2,000 per month, claiming at 62 gives you $1,400. Claiming at 70 gives you $2,480. That is a difference of $1,080 every single month for the rest of your life. Over a 20-year retirement from 70 to 90, the cumulative difference exceeds $250,000. No stock pick. No side hustle. No. Crypto trade gives you that kind of guaranteed, inflation-adjusted, government-backed return for doing absolutely nothing except waiting. But here is the psychological trap. 1/3 of early retirees who claim Social Security at 62 do so to cover healthcare costs before Medicare eligibility at 65. They did not plan a healthcare bridge, so they permanently reduce their lifelong income to plug a 3-year gap. The tail wags the dog. According to Fidelity's 2025 retiree healthcare cost estimate, a 65-year-old retiring can expect to spend an average of $172,500 in healthcare and medical expenses throughout retirement. That number has risen 115% since Fidelity first tracked it in 2002, and it does not include long-term care. 1 in 5 Americans say they have never considered healthcare costs in retirement among Generation X. That rises to 1 in 4. So the chain reaction goes like this. You do not plan for healthcare costs from 62 to 65. You panic. You claim Social Security early to cover the gap. You permanently reduce your income by 30%. And then you spend the next 25 years with a smaller check every month, all because of a 3-year bridge you could have planned for with a health savings account or a short-term health insurance strategy. The countermove: treat Social Security not as an income stream you turn on when you stop working, but as the cheapest longevity insurance you can buy. Your other assets carry market risk. Your Social Security benefit. If you wait, does not. Every year you delay past 67 is an 8% guaranteed raise. Find me another investment that does that. We have covered 5 traps. Now let me collapse them into the 3 levers that actually move the needle. Lever 1. Maximize catch-up contributions while the window is open. In 2026, workers age 50 and older can contribute $32,500 to a 401k. Workers age 60 to 63 can contribute $35,750 under the Secure 2.0 Super Catch-up provision. If you start making maximum contributions at 50 and earn a 7% average annual return over 15 years, that is approximately $850,000 from contributions and growth alone, no speculation required. Just the tax code doing what it was designed to do. And combine it with a health savings account. If you are eligible, only 15% of people aged 55 to 64 have a health savings account, and more than half of that group does not know it can be used as a retirement savings vehicle. According to Fidelity, the catch-up contribution plus health savings account combination is the most powerful 1-2 punch available to someone in their 50s. Lever 2. Build the cash buffer before you need it. 18 to 24 months of living expenses held separately, untouched by your portfolio. This neutralizes sequence of returns risk. It costs you almost nothing in terms of long-term return, and it protects you against the single largest structural threat to your retirement. Think of it as insurance that actually pays for itself. Lever 3. Delay Social Security as long as you can possibly afford to. Run the break-even calculation. Factor in your health, your family, longevity history, and your spouse's benefit. The difference between claiming at 62 and 67 can exceed $100,000 in lifetime income. Between 62 and 70, It can exceed $250,000. That is not marginal. That is the difference between a retirement that works and one that slowly unravels. Ryan. Remember Ryan? Finally sits down with a fee-only financial advisor, not the kind who earns commissions. The kind who charges a flat fee and has no opinion about what you buy. The advisor runs Ryan's numbers and shows him three things. First, his lifestyle. Inflation, since paying off his house, has added $36,000 per year to his baseline spending over a 25-year retirement. That is $900,000 in additional assets he needs. Assets he does not have. Second, his plan assumes claiming Social Security at 62, which permanently reduces his benefit by 30%. The advisor shows him that delaying to 67 while building a 2-year cash buffer would add roughly $140,000 in lifetime Social Security income alone. Third, his portfolio has zero sequence protection. If a downturn hits in his first 3 years of retirement, his plan fails by year 22. Ryan does not change his life. He changes 3 numbers. He redirects $2,000 of his monthly surplus into catch-up contributions. He starts building a cash buffer with the remaining $1,000, and he moves his Social Security claiming date from 62 to 67. Same salary. Same job. Same market. 3 different decisions. The projected difference at age 85, approximately $400,000 in lifetime income and portfolio stability. The BMW goes back. The golf club stays. Priorities, not deprivation. Here is what you do with this information. If you are 50 or older and not maxing your catch-up contributions, $32,500 in a 401k for 2026, or $35,750 if you are 60 to 63. You are leaving the most powerful, tax-advantaged accumulation window of your life unused. This window closes the day you stop working. It does not reopen. If you do not have 18 to 24 months of living expenses set aside in cash or short-term bonds, separate from your investment portfolio, start building it now, not when you retire. Now, this is not conservative investing. This is structural engineering. You are building a bridge that lets your portfolio survive its most vulnerable years. If you are planning to claim Social Security before your full retirement age, run the numbers one more time. Factor in your actual life expectancy based on family history, not the national average. Factor in your spouse's benefit. Factor in the 3-year healthcare gap between 62 and 65. The answer might surprise you. And if you are in your 50s supporting adult children or aging parents, draw the line between generosity and self-destruction. You cannot pour from an empty retirement account. Helping your family is noble. Bankrupting your own future to do it is not a plan. It is a slow-motion crisis that nobody talks about until it is too late. None of this requires genius. It requires clarity about which decade you are actually in and what physics apply. Your 30s were for building habits. Your 40s were for building momentum. Your 50s are for not breaking what you built. The people who retire well are not the ones who picked the right stock or timed the market. They are the ones who understood that the last 10 years before retirement are not a victory lap. They are the final exam. And the questions on that exam are not about how much you earned. They are about how much you kept, how much you protected, and whether you had the discipline to be boring when everything around you said you had earned the right to be exciting. Patience built more retirements than performance ever did.